All right. So welcome everybody, WPL week 1. Let's just do a quick check-in here. So drop in the chat how you're feeling, 1 through 9. That way we know what page everybody's on. I think I'm an 8. Tim with the 4.
I've gotten 3 emails from Tim O'Brien about clips from the game and my thoughts on it. And Richard's been kind enough to uh, shield me from the questions. So
Yeah, when he said you had a 70-minute conversation last night, I was just thinking that's a bit too much. So good for you for sticking that out. All right. So as we're getting going here, just reminders. Sorry, was somebody trying to say something? No, we're good. Okay. Meetings, we're going to try and start and end on time. Just remember to have self-awareness on these calls because everything is recorded. Make sure you introduce yourself before you speak. Am I hearing myself echo? Is everybody muted? Okay. Give the floor to others, especially if it's someone who doesn't speak often. Referees. Yep, I'm definitely hearing myself and I have no idea why. I don't know if it's me. Okay, maybe not. All right. So refs speak first. So that means coaches. One of our things that we're trying to do with this program is develop referees who are leaders. So we need to let them lead in this space. And if you just want to agree with somebody, go ahead and use your emojis. We don't all have to just chime in to say that we agree. Sarcasm and joking, keep it to a minimum. Use gender neutral language when we can. And let's all remember to have a growth mindset. Anybody have comments about that stuff? Cool. Results from week 1, 27-29, Life West All Blues. Exciting match, 2 points. Exactly what we want to see. Colorado, New York, 17-15, another 2-point game. That's also pretty fun to watch. And then North Shore Beantown, the Crush, 62-0. Marty, you couldn't put 5 on the board for North Shore, buddy. All right.
Yeah.
Well,
could have worked a little harder there.
Okay, well, we'll let it go this time. Let's find advantage. Did Hannah make it to the call? Let's see, participants. All right, not seeing Hannah.
Hello, Amanda. Hello, guys.
Hello. Who is that? I can't see.
That was Paulo.
Oh,
That's the
hello,
Portuguese.
Paulo.
The Portuguese.
Hi, how are you?
Very good,
Everybody,
guys.
Paulo's doing a game for us this weekend, so he's joining us for this call so he can be up to date with what had happened in these games. So welcome, Paulo. Everybody say hi.
Thank you.
Yay. I was expecting Hannah to show up. I don't know if she'll pop in later, so maybe Jenny will keep your match for a second. Marty, did you want to start?
Yeah, I'd be happy to.
Super.
Yeah, it was great to get out week 1. It was awesome. Week 1 in Chicago, wasn't really know what to expect weather-wise before I got there. But it was gorgeous. It was mid-70s with a little breeze, so you can't really ask for much more weather-wise. Yeah. If we take a look at the score line, it was pretty one-sided. But I was impressed with North Shore. They were able to string together a lot of good pieces of play together, but then couldn't compete a full cycle, which is unfortunate for them. But there is a pretty good ground to work on and to move forward for the rest of the season. Yeah, so if you want to hop into some of the clips, we could start off with I think Wendy and I.
Not many scrums in your game. Only 13.
Yeah, my thought is the less the better, right? No. Yeah. No, only 13. Cool. Which was nice. Yeah.
Space,
Um,
maybe. Where do you want to
yeah.
start?
Yeah, I think we could start around with Wendy and I both clipped this one. It was work rate. I think I had it as urgency around in goal. Yeah, that first one. So we often,
Excuse me,
Yes.
Peter, could you expand that to full screen? There we
Good.
go. Cool. Yeah.
sweet. Yeah, we often hear about or have the conversation around working really be on our horse, especially inside 5 meters, and you just see that's not what is going on here. I think it's the score line should not affect my work rate, especially inside 5 meters. And you see this walking around doesn't benefit anybody. So just a friendly reminder from me, and I'm able to put myself on the pedestal here and saying, let's all be mindful and work real hard, especially inside 5. Yeah. So
Fair.
I'm gonna put my hand up on that one. Yeah. Cool. And then we could talk about the set piece expectation. I think
Okay.
yeah. So at this point, Beantown has had 3 attacking opportunities from lineouts, and they've mauled on all 3 of them. So I was definitely expecting a maul here as well. So I did have the conversation with my AR to be mindful of this. So it's being able to recognize what has been going on and looking at trends, and then just it was more of a conversation to do that as well, rather than. So we were expecting them all. We see them all. Yeah, and they all.
Okay, so we're talking about anticipating.
Yeah, exactly. So just.
Happy with your movement?
I could have moved earlier. I felt like I knew that I wanted to see what was going on this inside, and I slowly get there. Wasn't
And
too happy with my.
Go ahead.
And then I work away through. Yeah, thanks, Tim. I did work a little harder at the end, but I was on my heels for most of the match. Which,
Okay. You might
yeah.
consider starting at the end of the line out on these ones close to the 5 meter, especially if you're anticipating them all.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Anybody else have thoughts about this?
Yeah, especially as it looked like you had reasonably confident ARs.
Yeah. For it was great to work with them. Neither of them have worked with radios before, which was exciting to play around with the buttons before in the match. But it was good to. I was comfortable with them as well.
So they were new, your ARs were new too?
Correct. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know where I got to here.
And
Hey,
then,
Marty, did you take another jersey with you? Another colored jersey?
yeah. So I Wendy commented this on the clips as well. I didn't
Yeah.
see an issue in the moment, but it's obviously a pretty big issue here on the film. I did have another one in the bag. I think it was like a light blue one that I probably should have put on. But
Yeah. Pink and red always seems fine when you're standing there with it, and it's always terrible on video.
Hmm.
What else we got?
yeah. So and then this last one, hopefully there's some conversation here. So oh, did I not add it to the?
Do I need
meeting?
to refresh? Maybe I may have. Yep, there you are.
Cool. Yeah. So it's the contextual turnovers. I let the turnover play, but if we're looking at like how Beantown wants to play, is it beneficial? Or we could take a look and then I could explain this a little bit. But yeah. Yeah. So we see Beantown win the turnover at the breakdown. And Beantown wants to play quick, expansive rugby. So at what point do I penalize that, or do I just let that play? I feel like there's points to be made on both sides, and we shouldn't be too conscious of the penalty count in the middle of that, but we shouldn't let that make our decisions for us. But I know it's always in the back of our minds too, so trying to keep that low. But yeah, if anybody has any thoughts, I'd be happy to chat.
I'm sorry, what are we debating here? There's a turnover. Okay,
So the ball carrier not releasing is there too. So
I see. Okay.
yeah, so at what point do we allow that turnover to naturally happen and really get this slow sort of undesired ball out of that breakdown?
Yeah.
Or do we just reward a red 5 for being on top of that
Yeah.
immediately?
When was this in the match, Marty? Was this early, late, middle?
It's about 10 minutes before halftime.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah,
Marty,
I see the attacking side entry. That's why I didn't. I just wanted to be clear on what we're looking at. But I see that. I see what you're getting at.
Marty, this is Bob. I think you're answering your own question because if you look at it, it goes into the tackle and the ball carrier is holding on, and you see that the jackler's like trying to get the ball and is actually dragging her forward to try to get the ball. At this point, what's the? I try to go to the referees. What are you trying to gain by waiting? Like, what are you waiting for? At this point, we have a ball carrier not holding on, or we have a ball carrier holding on. We have a defending side who wants to win this ball quickly, can't do it because, why not? Let's sting it here. We're in the middle of the area, make it very clear that this ball carrier needs to release. And then you can see the result. We have a ball carrier, you have someone on the ground, you have another person dragging, and now you have more defenders trying to come in, and it just starts, you just have more bodies. And to me, that's almost like a trigger. Like, okay, why are there more bodies here? What happened? I like to try to focus in where it started, and it started with that. And I'm just curious your thought on that.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good question. I think subconsciously I sort of hinted at it before. Like we don't want to, or I don't want to be super whistle happy. And I feel like there were some parts of this where I did stop
Let's,
using.
Oops, sorry, Marty. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah,
Might be
no,
it might be a good one for a waterfall. So just 1, 2, 3 in the chat. Type in PO for play on or PK for the penalty.
For me, this is like a larger level. Let's look at the game as a larger piece. And sorry, this is Wendy. Yeah, so it's like a larger piece. And so looking at it from a bigger screen is that Beantown wants to play fast, so let's reward him. Let's go. And North Shore was at this point just trying to slow the game down. And you'll see trend a little bit of that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, this is Peter. To sort of add on to Wendy's point, at this point, if you give the penalty, look at where the defense is, and then look at where the defense is when the ball finally comes out.
Yep. There's absolutely some creep.
Well, they all get realigned.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, Marty, something that I would think about here too is like rewarding like the positive play, like the defender is on their feet over the ball, great position. Like they deserve that penalty, in my opinion.
Can we manage this situation? I know we're saying Beantown wants to go fast, but they also want that turnover, and they earned it in this case, but in a lot of cases, they're not even going to earn it. So can we try to vocalize to the ball carrier to release? And if she doesn't win it on the second pull of the ball, causing that slow turnover, then call a penalty?
I think that's totally reasonable. I don't see any reason to get on the whistle too quickly in 15s. I think the poach can take a second or two.
I also think Beantown is still earning something. They're still winning something.
Right.
They're getting possession when they generally wouldn't.
I agree with you.
Paulo here. I like the discussion around either we let it play or we penalize. And I think Miles and Marty touch about if it's that clear and obvious that the defender got the turnover, and for the only reason that he was not allowed to play that ball is because the player on the ground was holding the ball, then we need to reward to get clarity on the game. Maybe can be early on the game, can be late on the game. We never know. And we are talking about they want to play fast. But me not watching the game and not knowing the teams, if I referee that because it's in front of me, if the jackler, as Miles said, did her job to get on the ball and try to pull it and didn't get the turnover, I think we are looking at a picture of to get a penalty, reward the positivity, rather than play on, and then there is a side entry, and then someone comes and takes the knee of that player. Or Messi, as Bob was saying, gets a little bit messy. So it's just a matter of she showed a lift, yes. So why did the ball was not available? That would be my question. Is it because of the ball carrier, or something else happened? And if it's that, and if you wait that extra second, not 5 seconds, but that extra second to see what's unfold, then you have your answer if it's able to play on or not. On this situation, I think because we let it play, it became messy, and then the turnover was good, but then the team that lost the ball actually was in control because they had time to organize again.
It's a great way to look at it. Thank you. Bob, you raised your hand? No?
Sorry, having lots of video things. I can't even type in the thing. So
Okay.
sorry. No, I'm good.
Okay. Marty, Wendy, you want to wrap it up?
Yeah, it was great to get out there. And it was a fun one. Looking forward to some more conversation.
Cool. Jenny, did you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. Did Hannah make it on? I don't think I see her. No. Okay. Well, this was a spicy one to start. 27-29. Both teams came to play. Some great continuous rugby. Everybody came in firing. For me, I haven't reffed in a month, so positioning maybe was not as smooth as I would have liked, and I was still in the first few minutes still calibrating and finding my way. A couple missed opportunities to have a clear standard on offside, and then I had to deal with it for the rest of the game by working a little bit harder than maybe I would have needed to had I have gotten those early opportunities. Couple foul play calls. So over-indexed a little bit on the play on in some situations, but then got overzealous in one of those foul play situations, which you'll see in the clip. But it was a great match. Bob, do you have anything to add?
No, I think you put it. She really made some big calls, and the giving it. There was a very early yellow card because it was egregious, and it's big to make it very early. And I say to everyone, if you believe that is absolutely something that you need to do, you do it, and and don't worry about it. But I thought she had an excellent match. Yeah, we see the rust, but everybody has that. But I thought that she played through very consistently, and it was I enjoyed watching that match very much.
Should we start with number one? Thanks, Bob.
Yep. And this is a cautionary tale about field awareness and knowing exactly where you are. So the lines are very light and the pole was down. So when I scanned over, I got a little bit disoriented, and I thought we were a little bit farther out than we were. So if I were to see this again, I would want to be more patient and know how close we were to the in goal. I went in thinking I want to make a statement about foul play here, and I did. However, the better call would have been being a little bit more patient. So you can go ahead and play it. So I blow the whistle immediately because I wanted to make that statement because that player basically got punched in the neck. However, that player was very strong and just kept running and then fell into the in goal
try was scored?
Yes, but I had already blown the whistle, so I was like, well, crap. I already blew the whistle. So then I went over and talked to the AR, and they agreed, and then we sent that player off, yellow card. This is the 3rd minute of the game. So it just pow.
Yep. Welcome back.
Yep. So if I were to see that again, I would have more field awareness and be more patient and just let that see what happened in the next second or two.
Anybody else have thoughts about that clip? Refs?
Hey, Jenny, this is Andrew Stockton talking. Curious, in your discussion, did you ever consider a penalty try there as well?
The Gold 9 did ask me, oh, penalty try? And I said, there's other defenders there. And also, I still, at the time, I was still a little, didn't realize that we were in the in goal. So that would have been a good question.
I didn't bring it up on this one. This is Bob. I didn't bring it up on this one. There's another clip where I actually did, only because there were actually 2 defenders on the girl. So you had the one doing the foul play, but then you also still had another one that was there. So I didn't think, right, in this case, but and unfortunately the videos are all very choppy because they cut.
Yeah, Jenny, I think this is Miles, by law, I think you nailed it. It's kind of foul play in the act of scoring. So she did actually score. So I think the yellow card is appropriate, and Peter will correct me if I'm wrong on that law.
No, that's absolutely right. Absolutely correct yellow card. Given when the whistle was blown, you can't give a penalty try or or
exactly
the try. All you can do is what Jenny is doing, which is take it as a learning opportunity.
Yep.
Yep. So everyone walk around the field and take a close look.
The other clip that Bob was talking about did look like a penalty try to me as well. Not this one. There's another one in the game if anybody gets to go look.
Oh, I thought that there was a defender close enough.
Did you? For the other clip?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I should have tagged that one. Sorry about that. I thought that was
always go in and find it now quickly.
Yeah, we could. Let's see. We're at 10:24. Do we want to look at that clip or do we want to move on?
Yeah, I just watched it and whew.
I think it's a great clip, and unfortunately,
it's a good clip.
Videos. But go ahead, Jenny. Why don't you set it up for everybody? What's happening?
Yeah, sure. This is about 2 minutes later, and it was a high tackle, but I saw there was another defender nearby, and this player did not get punched in the neck. It was a more seatbelt tackle, and it was really the top of the shoulder, but it was high, and you'll see. Okay, go ahead. That's where, okay, I'm like, okay, I see the flag. We're playing advantage here. And then that never materialized. But if you see the defender, there's another blue player very in close proximity. So that's why I wasn't thinking penalty try at the time.
I was looking at the angle of this run here. The 14's going towards the corner, and right here, if you were to freeze it red as she's getting hit, if you would see there are blue defenders, but they're actually trailing across. I mean, if you look at this angle here, and that happens literally right near the goal.
That's fair.
You have to consider it.
It's a tough angle.
It is a tough angle.
If she's 6 inches away or 1 inch away.
That's why I just asked the question.
Yeah.
Totally. And the ARs were pretty inexperienced, so wasn't sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Not getting a lot of help, huh?
Mm-hmm. All right, number 2. Okay, this is going to be a discussion question. So, this is a scrum, and blue 9 is definitely offside, and I'm trying to manage this player. And, you know, I tell them to go back. They jump forward and then they back up. And at this point, when they take a step back, I think that the gold 9 has an opportunity to play it because their first intent was always to pass, but they tried to, you know, milk a penalty and engage the blue 9. So I was thinking, okay, the directive is they want us to penalize the 9 for hitting players who are off in an offside position and milking penalties. So that was I applied that thought process to this, and you all can tell me if you agree or not. But there's definitely milking, and you can't trick a trickster, and I see milking. So the blue 9 is not touching this player, and the gold 9 could have passed off the deck.
Hey, Jenny, this is Mike Lawrenson.
Yes.
Hey, I saw this, I watched the film earlier, and I thought that, you know, once she's off sides, she's interrupted their play. That's penalty. And then the fact that she hasn't earned it, she's trying to make sure that you saw it. Because it's definitely offsides. Similar to if somebody ran through a line out, you know, and put pressure on the 9, even though that they made their pass, if they were offsides of the line out, that's offsides.
Yep.
So Jenny, I just felt like this is a good spot to set your standard.
Yeah, totally.
Follow here, Jenny. Have you thought about trying to manage the number 9, or were you too focused? Because
no, I was telling the 9 to back up, and I was so I was managing the 9, but I think it was over management, and a better call may have been to just penalize this player.
Yeah.
So this is Bob again. Yeah, she did try to manage Paulo, and if you see where she actually started before the 9 was really creeping up. She goes number 9. And then after she says that, the 9 then goes up even further. And she's still yelling, 9, 9. And I was just pretty much saying, well, that's not, at that point, it's kind of over. So she actually says 9 right here. And then after she says it, the 9 keeps going, right?
Yeah.
And okay, she tried. She really tried.
Yeah, I'm a fan of penalizing that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Hey, Jenny, it's Tim.
That's totally fair.
I think as a 9 and you're a 9 too, it's like, you know, 9s are going to try to milk things.
Yeah.
And I think when you're, you know, that 9 stepping in the channel, you know, as a 9, you can't pass it because they're standing in the way, and then they go back, and then you're in this awkward middle point where you don't know what to do. And so I could see just picking and trying to milk that penalty. I think just penalizing early and moving on with it is probably the best
Plus,
thing.
this is Peter. You want players to know that they have to respond when you tell them to do something.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, this is part of the over-indexing on the play on, and also being surprisingly unsympathetic to the 9.
You want to walk us through this one? This is your try.
Oh, yes. Okay, this one is the grubby mitt try. So, okay, the blue tackler, or the blue ball carrier is tackled right at the in goal line, and then, you know, they're tackled and the ball is in the in goal. And Berkeley was familiar with the situation. They had this happen to them last season, and they recognized the situation, and somebody just, you know, stuck their grubby mitt through and grounded the ball. And I was like, okay, try. And then blue was a little bit confused, and I explained it to them, and they're like, oh, okay. And I'm sure they'll be aware of it next time too. But I was very happy to award this try because I was in a similar situation when I was playing the WPL, and Amelia probably remember, and the try was not awarded. So I was happy that I was able to award this try. It wasn't Amelia reffing this game, to be fair, but she was there.
It's funny because I was like just thinking that. I was like, oh, Jenny in this situation.
Okay, and then this last one.
Okay, this one, so at this point, the comms were in and out. And like I had mentioned, the ARs were pretty inexperienced, and we had talked about foul play and then putting your flag out and leaving it out, not putting it down until I come talk to you. And they, you know, they just under pressure just got a little bit flustered and did not do that. But it was a hair pull, and as you can see, I'm in the middle of the field, so I didn't see this. And then the AR is gesturing at me, and it takes me a long time to figure out what is happening and what they're trying to tell me. And then the comms were sort of like in and out. And I'm wondering, is there a better process? Does anyone have suggestions for a better process to make this cleaner?
They must have eventually gotten the message to you, right? Because I saw you signal advantage. Or is that not advantage?
I think it was offside advantage.
I think it was different. It was different.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah, you see me like just looking over my shoulder, and they're just gesturing and like, what? I'm not sure.
This is Bob. I like I told Jenny, I think she made the point. The first question I asked is, what discussion did you have with your ARs before the match? And she said, I told them, put your flag out, everything else. I think you did what you could do. I really don't know what you could have done different, because I mean, you got the call, right? It just got delayed. So
yeah, and then unfortunately we did not have a number.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot about that.
So that was
no number.
Yeah, that was also unfortunate. And yeah, I'm not sure. I guess I could have stopped it earlier when I saw them gesturing, and I don't know. What do you think?
Jenny, Paulo
Yeah.
here. I really loved the way that you tried to manage the situation, because you understood that something happened, but you didn't panic. You probably got, what I'm going to do here, and probably got a little bit nervous, but you actually kept playing. So as a referee where you have comms, if you don't have the communication across that allows you to have all the information to stop, don't stop. And that for me, it's philosophy. So if you don't have enough information, you might ask if you have an open mic, you might push to talk if you are able to do it on the run. But we still have to bear in mind that we still have to referee what's happening after and after and after. So, and you being able to then play advantage for the offside, and then when you saw the opportunity to stop, you stopped and came speak to the AR. I think I really loved how you managed. Obviously, the situation with an inexperienced referee, assistant referee, it's hard to sometimes deal. The expectation is a little bit different. I don't see more than a penalty here. I don't know what is the expectation in the league. I see a lot of big hair. She's trying to grab the jersey, actually pulls the hair, but then lets go. So for me, I would just penalty only, but I would like to hear from you guys as well. But around the AR specific, if you have a flag, put the flag. If you are able to come across with information, you come across. If you don't, keep the flag, make sure that I see it. If the play is stopped, call me to pay my attention or to get my attention, and then I'll come to you and then we speak. That would be a very simple message to ARs that are not as experienced, to have a very specific message around process, and then the communication. Hopefully you'll get the number. You didn't, but that's another identification step.
Yeah. And I think it's going to happen more and more this season that we don't have ARs who are experienced. So everybody should be ready for that.
Amanda, on the pool, hair pool,
yes.
Are we expecting on this situation specifically escalated to a yellow card, or just?
Yeah, the expectation here in the US is that that's a red card because it involves the head and neck.
Okay. Okay.
This one didn't look to me like it was with a lot of force, so I could.
Yeah.
I would be very happy with saying that's a yellow card. But in general, the hair pulls are reds. So,
Okay, fair.
yep. Any other conversation around this? Awesome. Jenny, hey, Jamie, are you on?
Yep.
Is this a good time for us to do, for you to explain the 20-minute halftime, 60-minute idea, and for Jenny to walk us through, because I saw she put those notes in for us?
Sweet. Yeah, no problem. So, I mean, I just had some conversations with Amanda around just how do we get people thinking a little bit bigger picture, especially given sometimes with advantage, you can be encouraged to kind of potentially look a little bit to drill it and look at individual incidents in isolation and not necessarily look at the bigger picture of the game. So what I'm trying to do is to get people to take a moment in review and kind of relive the experience of refereeing the match and think about what you think in review you should have been thinking about at that particular moment in the match, to try and get you some practice at that process, so that hopefully you do it during the game as more of a kind of like a skill that you've now perfected. So the idea being something like pretty much maybe having said that, let's get Jenny to talk through her notes that she's made here, rather than listen to me prattle on about it.
Sure. It was hard to tell on the tape. I think this is probably more 30 minutes into the match, but on game tape, they cut it up, so it wasn't real time. But where the 20-minute mark is, I say, let's see. Oh yeah, so I talk about the penalty count, and it's pretty even. The score is close, and the space could use a little bit more management because I had a few of those missed opportunities early on. So I was thinking about that. Let's see, foul play is calmed down, but it's still on alert. Scrum could use more management or escalation. We had a few restarts, but not quite resets. So I was like, okay, is there something with the spacing that could improve? Yeah, so my tendency is to be a little bit more empathetic toward the scrum. So I'm trying to train myself not to do that. Lineouts are fine, and yeah, it's still continuing to go after clear and obvious things.
I think that's perfect. Like in terms of what I had in mind for us to do, that's brilliant. And just so that everyone's clear, it can be things that you know that you don't go on to do, but if you had your time over again, you would do differently. So, if now I'm 20 minutes into reviewing the tape, oh gosh, penalty count's really one-sided, and I should be doing something about that now. Even if you know that you don't do that in the game, it's just something to allow you to think about how you could have approached things differently. There's a little bit here which is from the mantra of and Paula might be able to talk to this, the MLR approach that has been encouraged to the referees there is what does this game need from me at this particular moment in time? What does this game need from me right now? What are the things that I need to be worried about or thinking about at this moment? So that's trying to get at that issue is what we're trying to do here with these three things. So I'll just stop there. Jen, do you want to keep talking to about it?
Sure.
Yeah, there's an advantage with MLR because we actually have water breaks. So it's kind of we're forced, I wouldn't say forced, but we're given more of an opportunity to have those breaks, or convene for 2 minutes or whatever it is, take you 3 deep breaths and kind of just assess where you're at. Where WPL, I don't think you have water breaks. But you clearly have done it here. You've segmented those times up, which is great.
Cool.
Is that all good, Amanda?
Oh, sorry. Do you want me to talk about this? Or?
Yes, Jenny, go ahead.
Okay. For the 60-minute mark, I had written that Gold's discipline is starting to decline under pressure. And I had realized that they had, 3 or 4 penalties in a row, and then they killed the ball in the 22, and I yellow carded that. So I was happy with that management. So that was the main reflection in the 60 mark.
I also think as we prepare for matches, we can go back and read what the referee wrote at these 20 halftime and 60-minute marks, and that's going to help us with game prep for the following matches. Something to consider.
Brilliant. Thanks, Amanda. Look, let's see how people go. If people want to ask questions or, you know, feel it out a little bit, feel free. But the aim is to get you thinking in review in such a way that you kind of practice a skill that during a game, you know, you get to 20 minutes to go in the game and go, okay, what am I doing now? How am I going to be closing this game out? What am I thinking about going into the last 20 here? So, you know, the more practice you can get at that, the better it goes. So that's the idea. Good luck with it.
And Jamie, I don't want to like, dang, I think it's an excellent idea. It actually caught me by surprise because I'd never seen it before. And I actually loved it because as a coach, as a reviewing, it actually helps me because they're letting me know what their thought process is and what's going on in their head. And that way I can get the feel of why things are being called, etc. So I think it's great. So I just wanted to put that in there.
Yeah, I think we're going to find it useful as we move through the season. So let's try and keep that up. Jenny, anything else from your game?
Nope. Appreciate the feedback from everybody. Thanks.
Cool. All right, Lindsay. Welcome.
Hey, thanks. Yeah, so my match, it was definitely very competitive, close score line. Both the teams were pretty evenly matched. There was a lot of tackler penalties, more than I would like, as you can see by my penalty count. I think my big takeaway from the match is noticing trends earlier. I did notice the trend. I noticed the two trends. There were a couple repeat foul play penalties by Colorado, and I got on that one pretty quick and yellow carded the next one. Didn't have any more problems. The tackler PKs were a bit trickier for me to keep up with. And I did eventually yellow card them, but it wasn't until the 73rd minute. Looking back through the film, I marked two spots. I marked where I should have talked to the captain, pulled the captain out, and had a talk and told her next one's a yellow, because I did that late. And then I marked the one where I should have gone ahead and yellow carded it. I think it would have made play a lot better a lot sooner. I actually think the best passage of play in the game was the last 13 minutes. Once I put my foot down, I just needed to put my foot down sooner. And then the other big thing taking away from the game is that the film is really bad. You can't see most of it. It's just kind of like there's no film for 13 minutes, and then it's like frame by frame, and then around the 60th minute mark they kind of get like a okay camera. But I did wear a recorder, so more of my work with Olivia was around my communication pieces and what I'm saying. And a good feedback point from her, and that I agree with, is that I'm saying too many words when I'm giving the penalties, and I think that's why they started pushing back at me a little bit too much. I was opening the door for a conversation, and then they took that space. So practicing a little more, just like picking my phrases, a few words of what I'm going to say, and say that every time, and not opening that door.
That sounds like an awesome plan.
Yeah.
Olivia, anything?
It is really what Lindsay said at the end, because she can tell us how she feels about the game and you know, pull out a couple of things, but it was very difficult to assess, you know, calibration with decisions.
Right.
But I really enjoyed taking this from a totally different tact and listening to Lindsay's word choice. And if you're the blind person, right? Like, what did you just hear? I'm confused. So is there a different way to communicate to also shape player behavior? Because if you engage with them, they're going to come back at you. And that escalates in communication. So one of the things Lindsay and I talked about is smile on the inside, but you're stoic on the outside. You're very trim in how you communicate. And I would assert that the players would have respected the call a little bit sooner and not had 4 tackler not rollings if the first 2 were consistent word choice and no more discussion. That's it. This is my expectation. We're done. Right?
Okay.
Yep.
Which clip first, Lindsay?
We can go ahead and go with the too many words. As an example of a penalty. I don't think I actually say what the penalty is, and I just try to explain it.
I don't know how loud this is going to come through on here because we're doing my speakers through the other thing. So let's.
Play on. Release 10, put it up. Back. The turnover was good, but then they had a right to turn it over too.
Yeah,
okay.
So that's it. Just don't think I needed like the turnover was good. She had a right to blah blah blah. Like it's not releasing. Get back.
Sounds good.
And then the communication of Scrum PK. I think this was the one, Olivia, you wanted me to put. I don't know. This one was more concise communication around what I called it the Scrum.
River. Let's go. Right. Okay. A little closer, Pete. Thank you. You're right. Ray. Toby. Toby. Crouch. Bind. Set. Driving across.
Did you say driving up or driving across?
Driving across.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. And then my last one is a piece of usable film, less about the audio. I had my own in-goal mess up, and you can learn from my mistakes. Did anyone see what the problem was? If you want to guess what the problem is, because I will narrate.
I saw a knock onto a player in front of the ball.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes, so the ball comes back to the Colorado player, is charged down by white. So the player that's kind of in front of her that regathers it is good because there was a charge down. But then that player knocks it on, and a player in front of her is the one that actually downs it. So I did not notice that she was in front of her and called a 5-meter scrum to white. But I think this actually should be a penalty try.
Okay, anybody else? It's hard to tell how close they are. Penalty try. It's tough for me to get to.
Yeah, I feel like this is just a penalty for the offsides because the player who knocked it on could have downed it down herself too. It's difficult to see if she would have beaten her there.
It could have. It just feels like to me with it being literally in goal and a white player being right there, that's pretty cynical behavior.
So for me, a question that I would ask on this situation, Lindsay, is if it wasn't that action, would a probable try would have been scored? And I think very difficult to see from this angle, but there was no like people diving to reach out for that ball. The player was standing up. the two players that actually from the same team, the player that knocked the ball and the other one that is probably slightly in front. I agree with the previous comment saying it's too close to regard the ball and touch it down. So penalty for sure for the offside if it's clearly in front. But if you go penalty try, even the expectations of the yellow team is not penalty try, ref. It's not a clear penalty try. Inside in goal, yes, but
Yeah, that's fair. I do think I'm being like harsh on myself about it. I feel
probably nobody even
miss it.
noticed, Lindsay.
Do what?
I'm not sure that anyone other than someone on review is going to notice. I would.
Yeah.
Yeah,
maybe
I mean, I don't
not-
think any of the white players said anything, so
Yeah.
there was that. But I do think my learning point to take from this is actually the AR was in a really good position. They didn't come in with anything, but I didn't empower them to either. Like, I think that would have been a really good moment to, you know, tweet, time off, bring the AR in. I saw this. Do you have anything else? And if we're on the same page, then
You may
okay.
even have to lead them more than that.
Yeah.
With the player in front, because
Lindsay, in that moment, well, now reviewing, it's a little bit easier to understand. Is in front, we missed something. But on that moment, did you had a doubt around where the player came from to get that ball, or was it like knock on? We go for the scrum five.
I didn't see her at all. I just was like, okay, charge down. We're good inside.
Yeah.
Knock on.
Yeah.
White. My expectation was that white player was going to fall in it, so I was more so looking at the white player, and then she didn't. I was like, okay, 5-meter scrum.
Yeah. Yeah. Good. Thank you.
But yeah, I think it's a good opportunity to work on process, and the ARs are there. So if I can,
there is a lot happening in that situation. It's definitely high pressure.
Yeah, but getting
Yeah,
more, that's always good.
Yeah, Lindsay, the comment I'll make, it's kind of like the way I look at it. Penalty tries generally, when you see them, it's like alarm bells going off in your head, right? And that clip there is not. There's no alarm bells going off, right? So there's just something to think about. It's like a red card, right? Like a shoulder or something, shoulder charge, red card. Like it's like ding, 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 you know. So and that just doesn't ring that bell. So I think you made the right decision.
Awesome. Thank you, Miles. Lindsay, anything else? Olivia?
Nope. Would love video.
Yeah. Well,
that would be nice.
Yeah, they should have it better next time. And also, same thing, Jenny, with your game being so clipped up, they've been told to provide a full-length match. So we should hopefully see improvement in both of those places. We'll see. All right, let's wrap some stuff up here. My thoughts. Watching the scrums, I thought we had a lot of resets and restarts. If we don't mind next week, when you have a reset, right, resets, we scrum reset, we code, but a restart, we don't. So when you have a restart, can we just write that it was a restart? Does that make sense? Sorry, that's a lot of words.
Can you remind us which one is which?
Yes. So if you say crouch bind set, and then you have to reset the scrum, that's a reset. If you say crouch bind, and then you whistle them up, that is a restart. And I remember it because you haven't gotten to the set call yet. Is that helpful?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. And for scrum resets, those automatic, we tag those in Advantage, but we don't tag the restarts. And I felt like I saw a lot of restarts. And sometimes we need restarts, but also it may be that it is easier to let the scrum fail, go free kick, penalty kick, and have an escalation process if we're having a lot of restarts. So I would just like to see those tagged so that we can take stock of that. Positioning, I think a huge focus point for this group moving forward through the season, and something that's going to take everybody from, I'm one of the top 25 refs in the US to higher than that, is positioning. We really need to work on our polish and our positioning. We've got to be at the 45 so we can make the calls. We need to get to the 10. We need to be ball in line running, and we need to anticipate. This is what we're failing to do across the board, is we are not anticipating where the breakdown is happening, and we are overrunning, which means we're looking backwards or over our shoulder when we're making calls or trying to make calls. So let's look at that in review. Ref coaches, if we can really focus on where we're overrunning breakdowns and help the refs see that. Also, if we can tag where we do it right, sometimes it's very useful to see yourself do something well so that you know, okay, I have this skill and now I can build on it. I thought space is a major place we could improve. We had a lot of offside at the rucks. I also felt like multiple lineouts, either the defense was not set up back 10 to begin with. I don't know, Jenny, was your field really short?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
It is very windy, so if anyone goes out there, just be prepared for that.
On Treasure Island.
Mm.
Very windy, but it's a pretty standard field.
Is it a standard field? Okay. Yeah, I don't think Life West was setting up back 10 for the majority of the game. It was like 8 on a good one. So let's make sure we're using our ARs and giving them specific job of setting that 10. That way we're able to gauge it well. Yeah, attack running lines in front of the ball carrier. We don't need to talk about that. That's just it's there and it's not obstruction yet, and I'm waiting for it to be a problem. Ugh, we're at full time. We can talk about all this stuff next time. Week 2, referees. We've got Andrew Stockton doing all blues versus Colorado. We've got Paolo joining us doing New York versus Life West, and Jenny Lou returns North Shore versus the Zons. All right. Does anybody have any last comments before I stop the recording?